You need to be able to show representations of what you've done in the past, because again, they are dealing with billions of dollars. What I do affects them, and I don't want to hire some lawyer who's got a slick campaign on his website, but he's not worth the paper he's written on.
Welcome to The Legal Edge, marketing smarter for law firms, where we sit down with industry leaders and explore the strategies that help law firms grow, innovate, and stay ahead of the game. I'm your host, Rob Rosasco, and today we're diving into an area of legal marketing that doesn't always get the spotlight: insurance defense. Joining me today is Andy Donaldson, a partner at Holtsford Gilliland, Hitson, Howard, Stevens, Tully, and Savarese in Montgomery, Alabama. Andy specializes in insurance defense work, and has a deep understanding of the challenges that come with marketing a non-consumer facing law firm. He's been a longtime client of ours, and we recently worked together to develop a brand new website for the firm. Andy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate you inviting me, and I enjoy being able to do this.
Thank you very much. So Andy, tell me a little bit about what led you to choose this area of practice, insurance defense.
Sure. When I got out of college, I graduated from Troy State University in 1997, and I was looking for a job. I was trying to find somewhere to work, and was struggling to find something. I thought I would get a job in banking and insurance. That's what I thought I would do. One of my college professors kept calling me and saying, "I'm getting references. Have you gotten a job?" And I hadn't secured anything. And he suggested, "Hey, why don't you go to law school?" I have a brother who's a lawyer. A school that I went to is a private school here in Montgomery, Alabama. It's Jones School of Law. It's connected to Faulkner University. So I applied and got admitted. But when I started going to law school, I started working at a law firm in town as a runner. And if you're in the law field, you know what a runner is. They check boxes, and they go pick up dry cleaning, and they go get lunch, and they file stuff. And so that's what I did. I had a couple of lawyers who said, "Look, you want to do this? Start summarizing depositions for me. Start learning how to do this." But it was a great experience for me to get to do that. And 97, I finished law school, and I was going to take the bar in May of 98. I went to the men that, and the people I was working for, and said, "Hey, I want to get I want to practice law. This is what I want to do." And one of the lawyers who I did a lot of work for said, "Hey, we're about to leave this firm. If you'll go with us, we'll give you a shot." So I did. And so they left. I left with them. And they did primarily insurance defense work, did a little government work as well, but primarily insurance defense work. So I kind of rolled out of law school, rolled right into a firm that did insurance defense work, which then just kind of, I maintained that consistency throughout my career. I'm about to mark the 27th year, come May 1st of this year. So I almost kind of fell into doing insurance defense work. I don't have a story like, "Hey, I was 13 and I always wanted to represent people under insurance policies." That's not my story. But it started my career, and it's kind of almost what I know.
Well, and good for you that right out of law school, you had a job. I mean,
Right.
that's a challenge for many lawyers. And two, kudos to you for the fact that they wanted to hire you right out of law school.
Sure. Yeah, I was very, very fortunate and very blessed.
Well, tell us a little bit about Holtsford Gilliland. I know insurance defense, but should sort of expound a little bit
Sure.
on that, the firm's focus, and what sets Holtsford Gilliland apart from other insurance defense firms in Montgomery, in Alabama, in the Southeast for that matter.
Sure. Sure. Holtsford Gilliland, this firm has been in existence coming up on 35 years. It is not the firm that I started with originally. I started with another firm. Our practice primarily is, of course, is insurance defense work. We represent probably mostly any insurance company you can name. We're probably doing their work, especially if it's in what we refer to as the transportation industry. We do a lot of car wrecks, a lot of trucking accidents. We also do a considerable amount of construction, defect type litigation, slip and falls, what we refer to as general liability as well. One of the things that I think sets this firm apart, we service the entire state of Alabama. I think what kind of sets our firm apart is, one, the longevity of it. This firm has been around for a long time. I represent a lot of businesses in slip and falls and defect type cases. And when I represent someone who has been in business for decades, my first inclination is that they do honest work. I had a law school professor tell me, if you have someone you represent that accidentally kill somebody in a car wreck, the jury may forgive you for that if it was on accident, but you're going to pay consequences for the behavior, but it may not be the end of your life.
Right.
But if you lie to someone, if you commit fraud and you lie to somebody, juries will destroy you for that. And quite frankly, the community will destroy you if you get a reputation of cheating people.
Yep.
And so for this firm to be in existence for almost 35 years, we just have tried to do it the right way. We've tried to be economic and efficient in how we represent our clients. We try to be as professional as we can, try to be professional in how we handle our business. We are advocates. We try to be zealous in our advocacy, but we also want to maintain some professionalism. Because if you lose your credibility with a judge or another lawyer, you'll never regain it.
Nope.
And so our firm has tried to maintain that focus of what is the right thing to do for our clients, what's the right thing for the profession, because I'm going to see these lawyers again. I'm going to see these judges again. And when they see me walk through the back door, I want them to be able to say, that lawyer's from Holtsford Gilliland. Whatever they say, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, because they're not going to come in here and make something up. They're not going to lie to me. They're not going to bleed the truth a little bit to try to help themselves out. And so I think that's what really sets us apart. We have staff members here that have been here over 30 years.
Wow.
And to have staff maintain longevity tells us we've created a culture and an environment where they're proud to work here. They are excited about how we treat our people and what we represent. So, I think this kind of separates us a little bit from other law firms.
And I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
The faces, the people behind the scenes that, don't necessarily, get all the accolades. When they stick around, it absolutely speaks volumes of the environment, the culture that's been developed by the firm.
Sure.
Andy, considering your tenure with the firm,
Sure.
obviously you've seen different phases that the firm has gone through in terms of its business development efforts. But talk a little bit about how the firm's approach to business development and to marketing has changed, has evolved over the years.
Absolutely. I'm going to say this from a context standpoint too. It really has evolved over the last 5 to 7 years, not just here in our firm. And I'll give you an example. When we go to court, you have status conferences. It's a room full of lawyers waiting for their cases to get called. And so you talk, and 10 years ago, we may have talked about cases, or talked about football, or talked about kids. Now we talk about marketing. We talk about, hey, what about this? What are you doing? Did you see this? We will kind of exchange ideas, because it was, as from an insurance defense standpoint, 20 years ago, it was frowned upon. If you did advertising, that was a little lowbrow. Okay. And so, we, shunned away from it. I would have people say, well, Andy, when are you going to be on a billboard? I'm never going to be on a billboard. That's not what we do. That's not my market. What then began to happen is, the goal was to be in Best Lawyers and to be in Martindale Hubbell. And I'm still a goal. You want to be in those publications.
Absolutely.
Because that's what happened. It's like, hey, I need a lawyer in Arkansas. I need a lawyer. So you just go pull that book off the shelf, start looking. And that's how I became, AV rated, which is a rating the Martindale Hubbell gives you. It's very difficult to get. It deals with professional ethics, but also professionalism. The focus then became, who is my target and who am I looking to attract? This firm is not looking to try to get the lady who's driving past my office to stop and walk in the door. That's not my market. My market is insurance carriers. And how do I reach them? Well, those carriers are in periodicals, but they're mostly online, and they're looking. So we then began to focus and move our attentions toward having a website presence. But it really was just a digital PDF initially. It was just, here's our firm. And it was cumbersome, and it wasn't really attractive, but it became clear to us from an advertising and a marketing standpoint, we needed a presence online, uh, because when, that insurance claims examiner or that insurance company is saying, "Hey, I've got a new lawsuit or a new matter that's in Alabama. I need a lawyer for it." They're not pulling that book off the shelf either. They're going to Google
Yep.
and they're going, "Construction defect, Montgomery, Alabama," and I want my name to pop up. And if I don't have a website, they're not even going to call me. And so it became clear to us we needed to have a website presence. So when they Googled, they would find us, but I didn't need them to just find my name. I needed them to find my firm, and I needed them to be able to click on a link to get to me quickly because they needed quick access. And so it became clear, and then it evolves into, well, you got a website. Well, how does your website look? And what does it attract? And what is it telling you? And what is it implying? And how does it flow? Those things became much more important. And then we started transitioning to integrating other platforms into our websites, which I think we'll talk about, and using other platforms as well, to gain access to individuals, to kind of market ourselves and put us out there. Became the new white pages for us.
Yep. And this next question will actually be sort of continuation of this conversation. But you mentioned your brethren on the other side of the aisle, plaintiffs' attorneys.
Yeah.
So unlike personal injury, plaintiff side, family law firms, bankruptcy firms, consumer facing firms, insurance defense firms, typically don't. Well, you're not advertising to the general public, but as you mentioned, not that long ago, you really didn't advertise at all.
Correct.
Talk a little bit about, or share with me your thoughts on the biggest challenges firms like yours, insurance defense firms, face when it comes to marketing and business development.
Biggest two challenges that that we face and we still kind of struggle with is if I put out a video or a snippet or something on our website or on our LinkedIn page, it doesn't need to be silly. Okay, my brethren on the plaintiff side, that kind of is their hook. They've made a fortune on their hooks. That's how they're known. We see, insurance companies who are dealing with billions of dollars are not ready to hire a lawyer that's got a silly hat and a red nose on. Okay, they still want the comfort that hey, they have this presence, but they're serious about what they're doing, and that they are. I don't want to use the phrase more mature, because we're not. We're more conservative in our approaches than kind of being silly or trying to be eye catching. But also, that leads us to the next challenge is how do we do that, but work our way through the sea of other insurance defense firms that are doing the same thing? And how do I catch the eye of that person who's looking at websites trying to find law firms? And it's gotten very, very difficult. Insurance companies are just simply not calling people. You got to go through an application process. You got to, give references. You need to be able to show some representations of what you've done in the past. Because again, they are dealing with billions of dollars. And, I know they get a bad rap, but a lot of insurance carriers are very concerned about their insureds. What I do affects them. They paid for this insurance to handle an accident, something that's happened. And I don't want to hire some lawyer who's got a slick campaign on his website, but he's not worth the paper he's written on. I need to make sure this lawyer has got skills, got abilities, and the knowledge to be able to handle the legal issues that's going to be coming at him. And so working our way and navigating our way through the other lawyers and the other law firms that are competing for the same insurance companies and the same insurance dollars, and the same insurance eyes or corporate eyes to also to try to say, hey, look, this is who we're picking out of, the 8 other insurance defense firms within a 50-mile radius of them. This is the one we're picking. Why are we picking them? We're so visual now. I know, Rob, you and I have talked about this before. Like, how do I, that website needs to catch the eye as soon as they click on it. I've got to be able to captivate them. And so I've got to be able to do that, but I've got to do so in a tasteful manner to be able to make sure that they're not going to click on and say, that's funny, let's move on.
It sounds to me like the challenges that you face are more similar today than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago, more similar to the challenges that plaintiffs' attorneys are facing, because as you know much better than I do, but we're both aware of the fact that there's a plaintiff's attorney around every corner.
Sure.
So they've got to differentiate themselves from one another as well.
That's
but they're, to coin a phrase, their bag of tricks, is much bigger and much
Sure.
deeper than yours. So
That's right.
you're now facing similar challenges, but you've only got a limited number of tools to work with.
We also try to be mindful as well because, we are representing insured people or businesses that are insured by a carrier.
Right.
Those carriers may have competing interests. So we see that a lot coming in our office where we have, a law firm has hired us to represent the tortfeasor, the person who caused the wreck.
Right.
And then the insurance company who insures the plaintiff under a UM or UIM standpoint. And so we do not need to have our image be counterproductive with all the various carriers that we're doing work for.
Yep.
And so we're also mindful of culture, which, 10 years ago, I'd have never worried about culture and was something offensive or could be read wrong. I know when we were redeveloping our website, I was going round and round about images. What pictures do I want up front? So those are just these new dynamics that we worry about because there's a link between us and the insurance carrier, the corporation. And so we're by de facto a representative of them. So if we act or do something in a way, they kind of suffer the repercussions of that. I'm a representative of this firm. So if I go to a new county and I act inappropriately in front of a judge, every lawyer from this office who walks in that courtroom is going to get tagged with that behavior. And so we have to be mindful of that. So I'm a little more mindful of what we put and how we market because that insurance carrier is going to say, hey, we're going to put our name on that lawyer or that law firm. And we want to know that when they go out and represent someone, they do it zealously, but they do it professionally and ethically. And we don't look by hiring lawyers that are not up to the standard that we want to have as our lawyers. If you stay at home during the day, you get your TV on at work or whatever else, you're not seeing my firm or any firms running commercials.
No.
That's not my market. I'm not marketing there. I don't have insurance, CEOs sitting at home watching The View or Family Feud or soap operas all day. And they go, oh, that's an insurance company I want to hire. I want to hire that firm. Nothing wrong with that marketing. That's that demographic that being pursued. Wonderful. It's just knowing your market and knowing who you're trying to attract is what you're trying to focus in on and spend your time at.
Right. All right. Talk a little bit about how important or what role does reputation, not only your individual reputation, but of course the firm's reputation,
Sure,
and relationships.
Sure.
How important are those in terms of business development and the moving forward as far as the firm's concerned?
Sure. Yeah. So, reputation is everything. It's what is the John Wooden quote? Reputation is what people think of you. Character is what you are. Quite frankly, doing it the right way really helps us in the long run. It helps our clients in the long run because if I walk in and tell a judge, hey, this is what's happened. I'm not going to dispute this. I'm not going to try to argue around it. We're going to agree on this topic. That judge is going to listen to what I'm going to say. If I tell another lawyer, Hey, I'm not arguing over that. I'm gonna agree with you on this point. I'm not gonna make you spend a year and a half fighting over where this accident happened, the way you said it. Let's just agree to this. That builds relationships. I got a phone call, a referral from an insurance company called me and said, "Hey, we have a lawyer that's in Montgomery that does some of our human resource, EEOC, kind of that labor law side. We're looking for a new lawyer in the Montgomery area to handle some of our cases for us. He referred you." Well, I know he referred me because of the relationship I have with him. He knows how I conduct my business, how I represent my clients, how this firm treats clients. That happens with experience.
Mhm.
You got to be around a little bit to kind of cut your teeth a little bit and create those relationships. It doesn't happen automatically.
Mhm.
But you also recognize if you are that lawyer who comes out and is cute and trying to play little tricks and I'm such a good lawyer. You didn't think of this. That doesn't do anything but harm you in the long run.
Right.
And it doesn't create those relationships because at the end of the day, that website may attract you. And that they may go, "Hey, this is a great looking website. This is exactly what we're looking for." But really, if before they really kind of hook in and hire you and start working with you, they're probably going to make a phone call and say, "Hey, we're thinking about hiring Andy, or we're thinking about hiring Holtsford Gilliland. What's been in your experience?"
Yep.
And if that experience has been bad, it's going to be the kiss of death. If I need plumbing work done at my house, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call my buddies. "Hey, I got a plumbing issue. Who do y'all use?"
Even though the plumber may have had a wonderful website.
That's right. So at the end of the day, it's where the rubber meets the road. I need to get you to call me. I need you to look at me.
Right.
But really, when you do, I really got to prove myself to you. And the way you do that is by having, other lawyers or other clients, carriers or companies that say, we've done work with Andy for 15 or 20 years, or we've done it for 25 years with him. He has always been honest. He's always told us up front. That's not what I'm hired to do, is to be a yes person. And so if those relationships that you created over the years, they're the ones that's going to lead you to additional business. You're going to create additional relationships because someone's going to call and say, "Hey, that." My planner friends, people call me all the time and say, "Andy got in a car wreck. Hey, Andy got, my roof is not right. Got into it right. Well, I want to sue somebody." Well, those are my friends. I'm going to say, "Hey, call this person. Got a car accident. Hey, call this person. They do a wonderful job in representing their clients. They do a good job." That's really, at the end of the day, what you're wanting to do is create those relationships where people will say, word of mouth, "This is who you need to call."
Talk a little bit about how the firm, how do you get clients? How does the firm approach client acquisitions?
Yeah, so it's a little tricky. To some degree, there's ethical rules about contacting, and so in marketing, and we follow those. We have a great general counsel here in Alabama, very approachable. That whole staff over at the Alabama State Bar is really approachable. They take the attitude toward us as we're here to help you, not punish you. So if you have a question, call us. And so we do that. We'll call and say, "Hey, we want to kind of reach out." We've gone to conferences, trade organizations, various states, and have claims association meetings. We go, we try to speak at those at times, try to get someone to invite us to come speak at a conference. We ask for invites at times, saying, "Hey, I'd like to create a relationship with X, Y, and Z insurance carrier or this corporation," and try to work our way into a relationship or meeting someone to see if we can fill their needs.
Mm.
We may meet them and go, "Hey, this is not a good match. We're not who you're looking for. Our bread and butter is transportation. We do a tremendous amount of motor vehicle trucking accidents, a tremendous amount of general liability cases, slip and falls, and we do some coverage." And, but then they say, "Well, we do mostly medical malpractice." Well, that's just not us. Can I do that? Sure. But there's probably somebody more knowledgeable
Mhm.
and more efficient in that than me. We try to steer clear of what I would refer to as cold call. Just send something in the mail, or email someone, because the market is now so saturated. CEOs, litigation managers, claims managers are inundated. inundated with emails and contacts. I did um, a marketing meeting with a carrier in Arizona one year, and we started talking about reaching out and talking and sending resumes and sending information. And he opened a file drawer in his office, and it was just lined with manila envelopes. And he goes, "These are just unsolicited resumes and CVs that I've received from law firms from throughout the country.
No kidding.
I don't have time to read all of this. They're just getting passed by. It's much like I get, you know, 10 emails about renewing my auto warranty every day.
Yep.
Delete, delete, delete. Doesn't even get opened. So it's kind of the same. And so it's really, how do I create some connection to that person? Say, y'all are looking for somebody in Alabama, or y'all looking for somebody in Mississippi or Florida. I got this firm that we've been doing some work with. I want y'all to meet, and so how do we find that level of connectivity with a company to see if we can help them be more efficient, have better representation than they're having in the state. And that's kind of how we try to approach it. I'm all about efficiency and cost efficiency. And so what can we do that is low cost? And, adding your website at the bottom of your email signature is wonderful. It's a click and it's off and running. And so we, just by adding that to the bottom of your email signature page, created traffic, which was noticeable. Everybody wants the fastest, way to a point. So how do I get them to that point? I have a stack of business cards over here. I rarely hand out business cards anymore because it's all digital. It's all, here, and it's a click and a link, and it's dropped and it's there and it's saved, and we're off and moving.
All right. Talk a little bit about mistakes that you see other firms like yours, other insurance defense firms make, or omissions, things they're not doing as it relates to brand development or client development or just marketing in general.
I see several, and hey, we're victims of it too as well. But one of the mistakes that I see other law firms that are similar to our law firms is they check a box. We've got the website, we've paid for it, it's being monitored, and they never update it.
Right.
It never changes. And they don't change their bios, not updating, not moving it forward, and trying to stay relevant with your images, your content. Fonts change. People's taste change. And so if you just leave it and it looks like you created it in, 2012, it's going to look like it was created in 2012. You just kind of have to stay current. And if you don't do that, that first appearance is just not going to be good. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just reality. I need somebody to look at that website and go, that's professional. That looks good. Let me look some more. Let me look a little bit further. Let me read a little bit about this. And so one of the things that I think helps us do that quickly and maybe help cover a little bit for us is, we have our LinkedIn posts integrated into our website.
Very smart.
It's a splash, but it's relevant information. And it's relevant information about our firm and our firm people. We have families. We do things outside of the office. We have young lawyers who get married. We want to celebrate that. And so that helps create a personal relationship. We had one of our young lawyers, she got married. We put a post on her about getting married. It cycled through. And then one of the examiners that I've done work with for years, she called and she said, my daughter just is getting married. And tell me about, her name is Ashley's wedding, and how, and so it just created something common to talk about.
Yep.
Other than, I know the tort of negligence. It gave us another way to connect on a human level with someone who's calling us who doesn't know what I look like or anything else for that matter.
I agree with you completely, Andy. I don't care what line of work you're in. People want to do business with people that they have something in common with,
right?
That, they can develop that human connection with. Right. You might be the best attorney. You might know the law better than, anyone else in your field. But if people can't connect with you, then, your skill set is useless.
Right. Absolutely.
Many insurance defense firms, as we've discussed a number of times, simply rely on word of mouth, relationships, sort of waiting for the phone to ring, through a
Sure.
referral. Um, let's to me a little bit about how Holtsford Gilliland has implemented certain strategies and as far as marketing is concerned, and what's worked. You mentioned your use of LinkedIn. What other strategies have you implemented that have worked?
Sure. Yeah. Some of us better than others, are on LinkedIn from a personal standpoint.
Mhm.
Go to everybody calls me Andy, but my $100 lawyer name is Andrew Donaldson. So you can go and find me on LinkedIn. I have a personal LinkedIn page. We also have a firm page. And so anything that's rolling out of the firm is getting reposted or shared through my personal page,
Mhm.
connecting. LinkedIn is supposed to be more of a business Facebook, for lack of a better phrase. Using, the LinkedIn is just another platform to reach people that are within our industry and who are part of our target metric. Social media is, like it or not, social media is part of our business now. This is part of what we do. And when we get together as shareholders and have meetings about various topics, and if we talk about marketing, the conversation is always diversify, diversify, diversify. Because, we're a nephew away of someone's nephew graduating law school saying, hey, we're going to now send all our business to him because he needs to work. Well, we've now lost a client. We've got plenty of clients. We've got plenty of work to do. We don't really need to continue to talk or continue to try to meet new people to try to create more relationships because, we have groups of lawyers that are getting close to retiring. We want this law firm to continue forward and those clients that we have to be serviced and the new clients that we're going to have to service them as well. And so the constant conversation is how do we interconnect with other insurance carriers or other businesses that we can create relationships with?
Mhm.
And the use of LinkedIn fits with the website and our connectivity to others because, that insurance claims examiner, that litigation manager, they may have zero time during the day to look at anything that I send them about my firm.
Right.
But when they're sitting at home
Yep.
with the TV on and they're scrolling through social media, they look at LinkedIn, they
Oh,
go,
yeah.
hey, give me 10 seconds. Click on this hyperlink and let me look at this page and let me see what they're about.
Mhm.
And so we've tried to create, some language that is eye catching about who we are. I can't give someone who's looking at my LinkedIn page, and when I say we, the firm LinkedIn page, and go, well, let me read 5 paragraphs. I don't have
Yeah.
time for that.
No.
How do I say it in 4 or 5 sentences?
Mhm.
Because I know everything about this firm I need to know about in the first 5 sentences of this little blurb. And so it's an automatic link that says, hey, that may help us. I'm going to link it to, I'm going to explore it some more. If it's something I don't do, I'm moving on to the next post. I don't know in my career will I get to TikTok, but there's other social media platforms that are out there. I don't know of many other platforms that my target is involved in on a regular basis that I can focus in on other than websites and the LinkedIn profile.
And you mentioned just a few minutes ago, and I can only imagine it is a challenge. Your interaction with LinkedIn through LinkedIn,
Sure.
maintaining that level of professionalism, but also making something inviting,
Right.
appealing,
Sure.
noticeable.
Right. So it's over the last 3 or 4 years, really have had to be mindful of cultural aspects, things that are mentioned and said, making sure that it's done properly,
Yep.
um, and it's phrased correctly. Things that I didn't think about 5 or 6 years ago, I want to make sure that it's worded properly, that it's not offensive, or it can't be read offensively. especially when we're dealing with stuff with cultural events. So that's a dynamic that we are conscious about, because some things can be so offensive so quickly, and you're not meaning it to be.
No.
And so we're always saying, "Hey, will you read this? What do you think of this? Is this likable or not likable?" Where we are, and Rob and I know you offline. We've had this conversation 100 times. We don't put anything about football. We don't pick a side here in any comments that we make from the firm, because I'm gonna ostracize 50% of the state. So we steer clear of sports. Yeah.
You mentioned a couple of minutes ago something about the website, the new website that we worked together
Right.
on, and I was very pleased with the the end result, and I think you
Yeah.
were as well, and
Yes.
I think your partners were too.
Yes.
Talk a little bit. I know, again, talking about the other side of the aisle, plaintiffs firms invest a great deal of money in their website and their web
Right.
marketing efforts for obvious reasons. Your firm, on the other hand, it's a little different. Talk about the role that your website, or your thoughts on the role your website plays in the firm's overall internet marketing strategy.
Yeah. So we view the website kind of like the phone. It's the front door. Our website is the front of the building, and if you pull up, to a front of a building, and there's weeds, and it needs to be power washed, and some of the words on the sign are falling off, this place doesn't really pay a lot of attention to detail, and I probably don't want to go in there and get my hair cut. Okay. Um, but if you drive up and, man, that thing is clean and it's got a fresh coat of paint on it, and it looks sharp, and its detail is clear, you're like, "Hey, I feel good about going in there. I feel good about going to this business and shopping there." Our website is our front door. We don't have people driving, from Hartford, Connecticut, to walk in our front door of our firm. They're going to go to our website. And so when that front door opens, we need them to go, "Whoa, that's nice. Here are these different options to put it in a different language if I need to put it in a different language. Here are all the things here's all the buttons I need pushed." Is right there at my front door. And so that's why it's vitally important for it to be tasteful, but eye-catching and sharp.
All right. Talk a little bit about what are there any digital strategies, any internet marketing strategies that you think could potentially be helpful for insurance defense firms that are underutilized by many of them out there?
Yeah, actually, I was talking with another lawyer at another insurance defense firm a couple of weeks ago, and I hope this answers the question. But I think the coming of AI is something that is going to need to be utilized in our market, because I think it's going to be one of the most efficient ways for us to stay relevant. If I have a tool, an AI tool, where I am, kind of reporting, "Hey, this is the result that we just got for your insured, or my client," being able to take that from an artificial intelligence standpoint and automatically get that data is going to be, I think, what we're going to have to turn our attention to. AI scares me to some degree as a lawyer. But from a marketing standpoint, why not let this machine work for me?
Absolutely.
And get it out there and get it to people, and work and navigate through the process. It's just more efficient. Again, there's other platforms out there, TikTok or Snapchat or whatever else. Those social media platforms are wonderful platforms for other industries.
Right.
I just don't know if that's a tool that I'm looking at going, we need to get in there. Instagram, probably not.
Right.
And so I think AI is the coming tool for marketing for insurance defense law firms, I think.
How beneficial do you think, you mentioned Instagram and Facebook, going back to the people element and talking about your staff,
Sure.
and the attorneys at the firm,
Sure.
and allowing those looking in from the outside, whether they be prospective clients or someone else who might touch the law firm, How beneficial do you think platforms like Instagram and Facebook would be to further humanize the firm? You mentioned, I'm sure, with somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 total employees at the
Sure.
firm.
Sure.
I think it would benefit the firm,
Sure.
me personally, if I could get to know the firm, further.
Sure.
So how beneficial do you think Instagram and or Facebook would be to the firm, the makeup of the firm, the people in the firm?
Sure. Sure. My thoughts are, uh, hey, if you want to, in your bio, hey, Instagram is this, and publicize that. The lawyer in me worries about, I would worry about losing control to some degree of what's being put out there, not on purpose or something's trying to be malicious, that there's a comment made by someone in the firm that is offensive to someone else, or it's misinterpreted by someone else. Once you have that relationship, once you've started having a relationship with a new customer, a new client, or with a long-term client, having them, be able to see you on a personal level, that does allow them to get to know you better and create more comfort with who you are, because you're getting to see them and your family and all the other stuff that you put on Facebook.
So, and that actually was at the heart of the question. Let's not necessarily an individual's
Sure.
Instagram or an
Sure.
individual Facebook page.
Sure.
I'm talking about a firm Instagram, a firm Facebook, and have a single person or maybe even a committee of,
Sure.
2 or 3
Sure.
people
Yeah.
that are approved by the firm to post.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
if you have an event, maybe members of the firm participate in a community event, around Christmas time, they
Sure.
go to a soup kitchen, or maybe you're supporting an organization by running in a 5K or a
Yeah. Sure.
marathon,
Sure.
or you have a party there celebrating, a baby shower, something like that. Posting things like that on Instagram or Facebook.
So I'll have to think that through on, having, hey, let's have a Holtsford Gilliland Facebook page or Holtsford Gilliland Instagram, because we run the ages here. I mean, I have one that's out of college, got one in college, but we have people here who have young children, and we're sponsoring, basketball teams and different community events and stuff, and it shows our involvement
Absolutely.
in our community. That's what's more important for us.
Agreed.
Yes, that we're involved with. We're not, we take what we do very serious. We don't take ourselves very serious. And so we want to spend time with our families. We want to be doing things, with friends. And so it just shows a different side of, who's representing your people in court.
Absolutely. And there's the professional benefit to that.
That's right.
All right. Give me one marketing or business development strategy that you were surprised in terms of how effective it was. You didn't think it would work, and lo and behold, it did.
I think I referred to it earlier is the use of the website in signature lines. How many emails do we send a day? I mean, really? And I was like, but it really has. I mean, you can see that, from a stats standpoint. I mean, when you look at the, demarcation of, hey, I put this on here, you can see traffic, over 30 days increase. It really is kind of noticeable. I really just didn't think that would be that big a deal.
Right.
Also, I think LinkedIn. I think, being a persistent poster on LinkedIn has done better than I expected. I've gotten some phone calls. I've gotten some contact. I mean, I've had other lawyers call me and say, "Hey, I've got a similar case that y'all just posted about. Can I talk to you about that?" And we walk through it. I didn't think it was going to work as well as it has. And it lead to more contacts than it has.
Right. Let's take a peek into the future. Where do you see, what trends do you see shaping the way firms like yours, insurance defense firms, market themselves in the future in 5 years and 10 years?
I actually think how insurance defense firms market in 10 years, how we do it hasn't been developed yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's such a rapidly growing area where it's just going to start snowballing. We're going to be using more and more social media, more and more digital connection, but it's also going to be more personal. Because I think people crave that.
Agreed.
Businesses crave that personal contact. And if you don't have that, going to be out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
We're going to find a way to it be more personable. And I think we're going to move in a direction where results are going to be deliverable a lot faster.
Yep.
And so people can see real time events. People are going to want to know, where's my dollars being spent? And is it a good use of my dollars?
Mm-hmm.
And so that being able to say, hey, you paid me X dollars to defend this case, and here's the results you got. I think that part of the information of what we do is going to help market ourselves even better. And I think that's kind of where we're going, because people are going to want to know, hey, I'm spending this much money on you. What am I getting in return?
And that always elusive ROI. And you're right. I think AI is really going to help with that.
Right.
You said earlier in our conversation that as a lawyer, AI frightens you. As a marketer, AI frightens me as well. And I'm certain as the technology evolves, as time passes, there'll be lots of other things we can use AI for. But quite simply for data analysis, it's becoming invaluable.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, and it's just instantaneous.
Yeah. So if you were solicited for advice, if a firm your size, insurance defense firm your size, came to you and said it wanted to modernize its marketing, considering your experience, your involvement with the firm's marketing, what would you tell them should be the first thing they should focus on?
Yeah, first thing I tell them focus on is, who are you? Who are you? What do you want to do? If you're kind of all over the board and you really don't have a focus or a direction, it's really going to be hard for somebody who's just looking at it cold to follow you.
Right.
Have a heart to heart, have a discussion, and say, who are we? Where do we want to be? And how do we get there? First thing you really need to do. And then once you have that, once you know who you are and what you're wanting to accomplish, you need to be able to condense that and make it concise in readable format. I had a law school professor tell me, every contract you write, anytime you talk to a jury, speak in an 8th grade level. Don't try to be fancy, plain language, make it easy to understand. And make sure that the website and the marketing campaign that you're going to begin mirrors who you are. Because if you sell something that you're not, people are going to figure that out pretty quick.
Very quickly.
Pretty quickly. Create that image that represents who you are, that you not only sell them, but you can deliver as well. That would be the first thing I'd tell people to do out of the gate before they put the first word on a piece of paper, or pick out what color they want to use, figure out where you're going, what you're wanting to do, and start getting it quantified, and then start worrying about colors and pictures and how it's phrased and how it flows.
Okay. That makes sense. Andy, thank you.
Sure.
I really appreciate your time. And I think this has been, for me anyway, I think it's been incredibly insightful. If anyone wanted to contact you, what's the most effective way for them to get in touch with you and to learn more about Holtsford Gilliland and the work that you do?
Sure. So we've talked about it all day. The best way to try to get to us is our website, hglawpc.com, hglawpc.com. The website has all the information you need to be able to find us and locate us and connect directly to us. And my email address is on there as well, so you can send me an email. I'll be glad to chat as well.
All right. Again, Andy, thank you.
A lot of fun.
If you've enjoyed the conversation and you'd like to subscribe, please subscribe to The Legal Edge and leave us a review. We're bringing conversations with top legal and marketing experts to help firms grow smarter. Thanks for listening.